It's FFT in 5 time with Dave Richard. Here we go. I'm Adam Azer. That's Dave. And Dave, we're talking about wide receiver and tight end rankings movers, the risers and fallers after the NFL draft. What was the biggest change you saw in your wide receiver rankings after the draft?
Let's start with some of the bad, and let's go with the Bears. And it's not because they've got a rookie quarterback. I actually think the rookie quarterback can be good with them. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. So DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and then Rome Odunze joining them. Yes, it's going to be great for Caleb Williams. Yes, it's going to make it hard for defenses to defend them. But also, yes, it's hard to expect any of these guys to see high target volume, especially in the case of Keenan Allen. Man, in LA, he was getting tons of targets every single game. He was getting at one point 13 targets per game with the LA Chargers last year. I wonder if he gets half as many this year in Chicago. He might be their number 3 receiver in the offense. That does not portend to good fantasy numbers. Allen fell to wide receiver 38 in my rankings, and that is full PPR. Odunze came in ranked as wide receiver 46. A number of rookie wide receivers I have ranked ahead of him. And DJ Moore, still a number 2 fantasy wide receiver. But when this offseason started, Adam Azer, he was a wide receiver 1. Now he's a wide receiver 2. I expect Moore to lead the Bears in targets, catches, yards, touchdowns. But it's not going to be by a huge margin like it was in Chicago last season.
We just did a draft the other day where Marquise Brown was the first Chiefs wide receiver taken, followed by Rashee Rice, then Xavier Worthy. And a lot of interesting pieces there, obviously. So how are you ranking the Chiefs receivers right now?
Yeah, Rice is on another faller for obvious reasons. The whole offseason's been just a total nightmare for him. You know about the situation in Dallas where he sped away from a traffic accident. Before then, the Chiefs added Marquise Brown. After then, the Chiefs added Xavier Worthy. These are guys that can win downfield for Kansas City. I don't know if defenses are going to let them take those chances downfield, and those underneath throws might be there. But these receivers can also win on underneath throws, shorter throws. We saw it with Brown earlier in his career. We saw it with Worthy at Texas. Worthy, by the way, led Texas in receiving 3 straight seasons. So he's not a one-trick pony with 4.2 speed. I think Rashee Rice, a suspension is likely. I don't know if he's going to have anywhere close to the type of target share he had last year. This is another crowded offense. It's going to be awesome for Patrick Mahomes. We're taking Patrick Mahomes as the first quarterback off the board. But Rashee Rice might not be the first wide receiver for the Chiefs off the board by the time his suspension is handed down and by the time we get to training camp. He is a low-end wide receiver 3 in my rankings as of now.
Did any wide receiver rise, any veteran, after the NFL draft?
The veteran that rose for me was Terry McLaurin, and it wasn't by a whole lot. He went from a wide receiver 3 toward the low end to a middle of the pack wide receiver 3, and I think he does have potential to finish as a top 24 type of wide receiver. Over the past 2 seasons, Adam, Terry McLaurin has seen a 20.6% off target rate, meaning that the throws that he's getting, they're uncatchable. Of course, he can't put up bombastic numbers if 20% of the throws are over his head or 3 yards in front of him. You get the picture. So I think now with Jane Daniels there, Daniels is an accurate thrower, and I think McLaurin will be the number 1 guy. I think he can have a modest career year, not necessarily like 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns, but somewhere around the neighborhood of 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think that's in play for him. And I don't think that Washington added too much to their pass catching group. Ben Sinnott, one of those guys in the draft. I don't think they added enough to really make me nervous about Terry McLaurin not getting that type of role in this offense with Jaden Daniels throwing. He's the veteran that moved up the most. But there's a rookie that was ranked higher for me than I thought he'd be ranked, and that's Marvin Harrison. And we just got done with a mock draft where Marvin Harrison went 14th overall. Seems high. I do have him as a number 1 wide receiver to start the year. That feels high, but I do think that he's going to get a ton of targets. The alpha receiver in Arizona. Kyler Murray was a good thrower to the interior of the field last year. Now I think he can expand and really nail those sideline throws with Marvin Harrison at his disposal. And I think the touchdown rate is going to go up for Kyler as well. Harrison, the type of guy who maybe can get to 9 targets a game and maybe average around 12.7 yards per catch. He could end up being a very, very good fantasy receiver.
We're just about out of time, Dave. So in about 20 seconds, tell me how Brock Bowers shook up the tight end rankings.
He went into the top 12, and he's barely a top 10 type. I think if TJ Hawkinson were fully healthy, Bowers would be either 10th or just outside the top 10. But obviously, the number 2 target in an offense piloted by Gardner Minshew. Yeah, I kind of like that Minshew's the quarterback because he'll check it down to Bowers. But I am worried about Bowers reaching his potential for however long that Devontae Adams is playing in that Raiders offense.
Dave Richard, thank you very much. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. We'll talk to you next week on Fantasy Football Today in 5.